the show, we usually talk about issues. We don't spend a lot of time promoting ourselves, really, on the show or getting into the internal mechanics of the program. But a group of listeners got together in Seattle and put together a fan club, and the fan club features a newsletter, and I'm looking at it right here in front of me. I mean, this thing is several pages, including stories about our recent trip to Seattle, stories about our ratings on the buzz, information how to reach us by computer, information about the Tom Leykis Fan Club Happy Hour. This is great. On October 27th, they're going to have their first get-together between 3 and 7 Seattle time. A group of listeners is going to get together and hang out, drink beer and coffee and cappuccino and whatever, and they're going to listen to our show at some joint somewhere in the Seattle area. And I'm just fascinated with this. And if you want to get in touch with them, Cindy Johnson, who was the original person who came up with this idea, and Elva Gonzalez and Beth Sherrard, all of them, these are the three people primarily behind this. And they all listen to the buzz. What do they do? Write to us, Mike? Or they write to them, or what do they do? Write to us. All right, you can write to us at P.O. Box 4455, Hollywood, California, 90078. And send it to Mike Dooley's attention, and he will get you in touch with the Tom Leykis Fan Club. I just can't believe there is a fan club. This is blowing me away. But the newsletter was extremely impressive. And I understand the Buzz helped them out a bit on that, too, which is great. The Buzz has been so supportive of our program. And it's really nice because when the radio station is supportive of the show, you know, when we come make visits and when we do, you know, the special local stuff for the radio station, I think it has really helped our success in places like that. And by the way, you may recall Beth Sherrard. Beth was the truck driver who was on the show and who could do the opening of our show and, in fact, did it 1 hour. She filled in for me opening the hour of the show when we were at the Bite of Seattle. So that is a riot. Is that true? Beth and Cindy are coming down next week. They're coming down, and Elva. Beth, Cindy, and Elva are all coming down next week just to watch the show. They're off the bar graph. Elva's coming to the listener party in L.A. next Thursday. It blows me away, folks. Anyway, if something like this happening in your community, do let us know about it because but I had no idea stuff like this is going on. And then when I was in Seattle, I got an idea of how big this was. They signed up something like 300 and some odd new members to this fan club while I was in Seattle. It's out of control. And anyway, thank you very much for tuning in. We appreciate you being with us. This is a different kind of a radio talk program, folks. It's loud, it's grating, it's obnoxious. It has a different political point of view when we talk politics. And, you know, we push the envelope on this show. Some people are offended. Many times when people hear it for the first time, they are really offended. And for those of you who missed this yesterday, by the way, and I have this for you, those of you who missed this yesterday, did you know that Divine Brown did a radio commercial? Actually, it was a TV commercial for a radio station. And for those of you who missed this, I want to play it for you because this radio station has pulled this TV commercial. And it's a shame they had to do that because I think the commercial was clever. I think the station had the right idea at heart in promoting a radio station and that they did something that caused people to talk. And it was good. And so we're certainly not playing this to slap them in the face. I'm playing this because I wish more radio stations would be this so bold, frankly. But anyway, as you may have heard, when Divine Brown and Hugh Grant were allegedly involved in whatever they were allegedly involved in the front seat of Hugh Grant's BMW, just off Sunset Boulevard in Hollywood, Hugh was listening to this radio station, according to Divine Brown. I guess Hugh's not a local, but Divine knew the station immediately, and she said some negative things about it. But amazingly, her opinion of the station changed when they paid her to do a commercial for this radio station. And it appeared in Los Angeles for the better part of a week, although I must say, I think I saw it more on hard copy in Entertainment Tonight than I saw it actually in a paid position on TV. Now, keep in mind, you can't see the visual. You can only hear this if you haven't seen it or heard it. Divine Brown is all dolled up in the commercial. Dressed in some very stylish, elegant suit. Nothing sleazy or anything. Her hair is up. She's wearing earrings. Glossy lip gloss, and what other kind is there, I guess. And, I don't, it's women's cosmetics, okay? I don't get involved in that stuff. But nonetheless, there she is standing next to the logo for the radio station. Keep in mind what she does for a living as you listen to what they have Divine Brown saying. This is the soundtrack of the TV commercial for KXEZ in Los Angeles.
It's the news story that's been making headlines all over the world. As quoted in the British press, Divine Brown.
I began to realize that he had the radio tuned to Easy 100.3.
Famous British actors know. Hardworking people in the Southland know. And now the whole world knows. Tell them, Divine.
Easy 100.3 is the perfect radio station to listen to while you work. 100.3 KXEZ.
So in case you missed that, there it was. That was an actual television commercial that ran in Los Angeles for what seemed like, less than a week. That's all it needed. Story in the Los Angeles Times today says the radio station has been flooded with complaints from people like teachers who thought that the commercial was endorsing promiscuity. And I say just because they called the station Easy does not have anything to do with promiscuity. I'm amazed nobody noticed the connection there. You get Divine Brown doing the commercial for Easy 100.3. I mean, I thought it was a good commercial. I liked it. And I hope you liked it. Anyway, wide open telephones. We do it every week at this time. Your opportunity to call in and talk with us about just about any issue that's on your mind. It can be any issue we've discussed on the show so far. It can be an issue you think we should have gotten into, but we haven't. Maybe you think there's some international conspiracy to keep us from talking about certain things on the air. We're fine. You can talk about those. Maybe you just want to call up with a personal question, a comment, a complaint, a critique, a criticism. You won't be the first. You only have to be interesting when you call in, and Mike Dooley will assure me of that as each call makes its way down the assembly line here. Here's the toll-free telephone number from across North America. It's 1-800-5800-TOM. 1-800-5800-866. 15 minutes after the hour. My name is Tom Leykis, and I'm slaving over a hot phone.
Coast to Coast, the Tom Leykis Show.
Maurizio, Fabrizio, and Carpaccio. Ciao, come in.
Yeah, excuse me.
Yeah, we're next.
Yes. Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 37 nose rings. Ouch. Entree.
But we're next.
Look at that.
Sorry, no pets. Oh, it's your hair.
Why bother to go out when you can stay in? Because HBO always gives you a new movie every Saturday night, guaranteed.
We're next. No one's left.
I assume you're on the guest list.
Guest list?
Sears and Michelin revolutionized driving in 1965 when they introduced radial tires to America. And to celebrate this 30th anniversary, Sears is having their biggest Michelin sale ever. Michelin's for passenger cars, sports cars, light trucks, and sport utility vehicles are all 5 to 20% off, including Sears exclusive Michelin road handlers at their lowest prices of the year. You won't find this kind of deal at any tire store. Only at Sears through August 19th. Get the Michelins you need at the price you want at Sears Auto Center today.
Clark Fackler at Office Depot Business Services had a big job but little time to do it.
They wanted a 900-page document yesterday.
Help.
I talked to my Xerox technician, Tom. He helped us run the job much more efficiently.
They had people inserting pages. I told Clark we could have the machine do this and save you time.
If you get a big job, Xerox Service can help you in a big way.
Without Xerox, we'd be up a creek without a paddle.
To learn more, call 1-800-ASK-XEROX. The document company, Xerox.
Hey, what's cooking?
Well, pretty much everything. You see, my freezer broke.
Good timing. Right now, everything's on sale at Sears Brand Central.
Everything?
Yep. Through Saturday, get great savings on all appliances, electronics, and computers, including top name brands like Sony, Whirlpool, GE, Packard, Bell, and more. It's all on sale.
So if I hurry, maybe I can pick up a new freezer before the rest of this food thaws.
Sure.
Oh, that's great. Here, you want a hamburger?
Well, no,
How about some chicken?
Well,
these pork chops.
Sale ends Saturday at Sears Brand Central. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Something to eat, please.
I'm Tom Shane, and in my lifetime, I've made well over 100 trips to Antwerp, Belgium, in order to get the best diamonds in the world. By importing diamonds directly, I've saved our customers millions of dollars, as well as letting them benefit in choosing from top-quality diamonds in all sizes and shapes. As I frequently buy from the same cutters in Antwerp, they know that I'm a serious buyer. I examine every stone and pay immediately for each one I buy. I don't want credit from my suppliers. Instead, I want them to offer me first chance to buy every stone they cut, and at the lowest possible cash price. To judge how well I buy, compare our prices at the Shane Company with any retail jeweler. If they weren't bought like they were, we couldn't sell them at the prices we do.
Now you can buy from a direct diamond importer, the Shane Company, corner of 4th and Stewart. Open Monday through Friday till 8, Saturday and Sunday till 5. Park free at a diamond lot with every purchase.
The workday's over. I'm heading for daycare. The traffic jams up. If I don't tell daycare I'll be late, they'll charge me for every minute past 5:30, which leaves me with the following choices. I could either A, hop out of my car, flag down a traffic report helicopter, and ask for a lift.
Down below, Fred, some women are signaling to me.
B, abandon my vehicle and sprint there in my new high heels. Or C, use my U.S. West Cellular service and call ahead.
When it comes time to choose cellular, make the smart choice, U.S. West Cellular. Because only U.S. West Cellular offers you the digital megaphone. It's a cellular phone, pager, and answering machine all rolled into one. And it costs less than other digital phones.
So now if I need to talk to my daycare in a hurry, I could either fly there using a rocket-powered backpack or be smart and call on U.S. West Cellular instead.
To get a U.S. West Cellular megaphone, see a U.S. West Cellular retailer or call 1-800-BUY-TIME. We feature state-of-the-art phones by Motorola, so make the smart choice. Call 1-800-BUY-TIME.
Weekdays move much too slow, unless you're catching the buzz, 100.7 FM. For a weekday that cruises right along, keep it here. You're listening to the Tom Leykis Show on The Buzz, 100.7 FM, Seattle.
Minutes after the hour. The Tom Leykis Show. Thanks for tuning in. 1-800-5800-TOM. That's our telephone number. Phil, a first-time caller from San Juan Capistrano, California. You're on the Tom Leykis Show. Hi, Phil.
Hi, how you doing?
All right.
Listen, I'm really confused. I can't understand why Mr. Gingrich's opportunities for genital expression outside of his marriage haven't been covered on the Grant Show from New York, or the Limbaugh Show from New York, or Oliver North from Virginia.
Isn't that amazing?
Or Michael, gee, don't you love my dad, Reagan? Or any of the conservative Christian talk shows, or even David Brinkley. I can't figure it out.
Oh, you can't, huh? I'll bet you can.
Well, basically, I concluded that, and I think he's about to announce that, look, all he wanted to do to these girls is what Reagan did to the country for 8 years. That's all.
Yeah, well, certainly that's the allegation. And isn't it amazing how Nudie has... Did you see him being interviewed, by the way? I think it was in Phoenix the other day. He was walking down the street, and all the cameras were around him as these allegations were coming out. And they asked him to comment on this. He said he had no comment. And they asked why he had no comment. And he said, well, that was 20 years ago.
Well,
and the reporter said, what was 20 years ago? And he said, the allegations were 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Well, then why not say, they're not true?
Well, because they are true. But I would like to know if one of those was one of Limbaugh's ex-wives.
I have no idea.
You know what I would love to see? I would like to see the Donahue Show with his guests as Rush Limbaugh's two ex-wives who never got pregnant, and also Gingrich's ex-wife, and interview them up and down and let the audience ask all kinds of questions. I'm interested in why neither one of Limbo's wives became pregnant. Now, did they have...
Let's have a panel of everybody who slept with Newt Gingrich. Can we fit them in this room?
Sure.
I don't know. I'm asking. Well, now, if we had a panel of everybody I've slept with, I mean, we'd have to hold it at like the Coliseum, but that's another story.
Well, I think they should, first of all, I think just as a preemptive strike, they should put his picture up at every junior high in Washington, D.C. with a question, do you know this man?
Thank you, Phil.
All right.
He was good. Erwin, a first-time caller from Santa Monica. You're on the Tom Leykis Show, Erwin.
Hello, Tom.
Hello, Erwin.
How are you?
I'm fine.
Enjoy your show a lot. Commuting up and down the 405 day in and day out.
Cool.
It's the only way I get any place.
Good.
Yesterday, you went on quite a tirade about the 60s.
But it's not just... I've gone on a tirade about the 60s repeatedly.
Well, I was hurt.
Hurt?
I agree with you.
Did you create the 60s or something? Was that your doing?
No, but...
Why were you hurt?
Well, I guess when I look back, these many years, being the quintessential baby boomer, born in 1950, father was a World War II vet, 2 kids, 2 cars, dog, cats, have gone the whole route. I don't look at it as you are really hurting the 60s, but it was personal because it was just a fun time in my life that I remembered it for.
But it's over.
It is.
Get over it.
I agree, Tom. It stung me, and I tried to figure out why. Well, was the 60s so great? What is Tom Leykis saying? Was my life wasted?
No, your life wasn't wasted. It's the 90s now.
That's right. We're on the Internet. We're tuned in. Listen to your show.
It's different. I think people who are into nostalgia have no life. People who listen to oldies on the radio, people who listen to classic rock, get a life. People wearing tie-dyed T-shirts and talking about peace and love, get with it.
I don't own any more tie-dyed T-shirts.
Good.
I gave them up.
Good.
But I still do have fond memories, and I think that's why it hit me personally. Like, well, it was exciting. I did the war protest thing. We mailed letters.
That was a great fad, wasn't it? Yeah, it was like the hula hoop, that war protest thing.
Well, Tom, we broke into the post office at the University of Massachusetts. We used all their postage. We mailed out 15,000 letters to the parents of all the students, said, tear this off and send it to Richard Nixon to end the war. I mean, that was exciting stuff when we were 19.
And what do you do now, Erwin?
I sell computers.
You sell computers.
Not very
But you don't protest military involvement anywhere. You don't get involved politically very much. That was a great time in your life, and now it's over, and now you're selling computers. And that's the point I'm trying to make. The 60s had no long-term change or growth for this country at all. It was nothing but a fad. It was nothing but the first era with filmed music and great stereo sound and loud stuff happening. But the real truth is that the changes of the 60s are nothing but media hype. There were no changes. We're all the same. We're doing what we would have done anyway.
I think with some slight variations that might not have occurred.
All right, Erwin, how are you different now? Calling you from your car phone, selling computers. By the way, I have a car phone, and I own 2 computers, so I'm not putting you down. But, Erwin, how did the 60s change the way you do business today?
Not the way I do business, just I think the way I live. I think I put my priorities are not business first.
So you live at a youth hostel?
No.
I see. You're driving an old Beater, like an old Beetle or something like that, right?
It is a Volkswagen, but it's not an old Beetle.
No. It's probably a cabriolet convertible, right?
No. Old Jetta, $75,000.
All right.
But only I think personally did it. I tried to hold on to some things inside, but no, it didn't change the world, and I'm not out drumming for politics. I do vote regularly. I try to keep aware of current events, but I'm one little guy. I don't have as much influence as Tom Leykis with his radio station.
Well, Erwin, believe me, the little guy is what makes a political movement.
Well, I agree with that.
And if people really wanted to get involved, they'd be out there getting the petition signed. They would be out there combing the Internet, trying to convert new believers. They would be doing what the conservatives do.
And not paying their mortgage and feeding their family and all of that kind of regular stuff.
The radicals in the 60s were liberals. The radicals of the 90s are conservatives. That's the difference.
And it's frightening. For someone coming out of that...
I know, but everybody like... Erwin, may I be blunt? Everybody like you calls me on the radio and says how frightening it is. And meanwhile, I say, what are you doing about it? Well, I'm busy. I'm busy. But, boy, it's frightening. They wish somebody else would do it. They wish I would do it. You know, like, hey, I'm calling you, Tom. Why don't you do something about it? And nobody wants to do anything.
You're right. Well, I voted for Clinton. I thought I did something.
Well, it takes more than voting.
Yeah.
It takes more than voting, Erwin. And again, this is why I don't spend all of my time talking about politics, because I must tell you, people who agree with me don't get involved in politics nowadays. They rhapsodize about how nostalgic it was back when they used to get involved in politics back in the 60s. But now they don't do anything.
Well, maybe I ought to go and run for local office.
There you go. Erwin, that would be, I'm not kidding, that would be great.
Well, I've often thought about it. Got a friend from that era who's a selectman in a town in Massachusetts. He spent a couple of years with Haldeman in federal pen, but he's a selectman now. Got caught with 2 big suitcases at Bradley International Airport with some of that Moroccan tobacco.
There you go, and then there he was in with Haldeman, who converted him to a Republican now, right?
I think he might even be a Republican. That would be frightening. I've never asked him that.
There you go.
Tom, great talking to you.
Thanks, Erwin.
Love your show.
Thank you.
Take care.
Take care. Bye-bye. Man, oh, man, oh, man. Kevin, a first-time caller from Bakersfield. You're on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hello, Tom.
Hi.
Great show.
Thank you.
Yeah, I want to talk about Anna Nicole Smith.
Uh-huh.
I caught most of your show on Monday, and I'm not sure if you had this spin-off about it. You were wondering how much she should get paid out of the will?
Yeah, how much money should Anna Nicole Smith get?
Oh, I think we should contact Heidi Fleiss and get a true market value of one Anna Nicole Smith, times it by 365 days, and there you go. and I've seen pictures of her, so I'm not sure if she has a mustache or not, but if she does, give her a couple extra grand.
Do they charge more for hookers in California than they do in Texas? You might have to prorate that.
Right, yeah, I didn't think about
that. You got Heidi Fleiss's rate card.
Yeah.
You probably have to...
state to state.
Yeah, because Texas, they probably don't charge as much.
No, yeah, that's true.
Thank you, Kevin.
Hey, you're welcome.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
It's wide open telephones here. Anything goes. 1-800-5800-TOM. 1-800-5800-866. And the phones have been just going crazy here. You can also fax us. And we will read some faxes coming up here as well at area code 310-854-4455. We got lots of good stuff coming up. We got that big listener party coming up in Los Angeles next Thursday. Over 1,000 people have called. Don't show up unless you know you're on the guest list. If you're not on the guest list, you won't get in. Hopefully you'll hear from a member of our staff real soon.
The Tom Leykis Show.
Good afternoon. I'm Brian Gregory with the Buzz headlines. A federal judge today temporarily banned fishing for Chinook salmon in southeast Alaska, saying the state had violated a 10-year-old agreement to help rebuild salmon stocks in the Northwest. A municipal judge in...
This is the show with the big brass ones. It's the Tom Leykis Show.
26 minutes before the hour. From Los Angeles, the Tom Leykis Show. By the way, I don't know if you're a sports fan or not. I don't think you have to be a sports fan to have heard about this or seen it. Did you see what happened in L.A. with the Dodger game? And those idiot fans? It was like, what was it, souvenir ball night. What brain came up with that, huh? What brain came up with that? Souvenir ball night. So anyway, here's what they're doing, right? They're giving out a free ball to, like, what, the first 10,000, the first 20,000. You know, one of those promotions they have at the ballpark. And the Dodgers are playing the St. Louis Cardinals. And so what happened was, in the ninth inning of the game, Raul Mondesi, an outfielder for the Dodgers, struck out. And people started throwing their souvenir balls on the field at the umpire. And, they made announcements asking people to stop. They didn't stop, so they announced that the Dodgers had forfeited the game. It was a game that Hideo Nomo was pitching in, and it was only 2-1. The Dodgers were losing, and they could have come back and won that game. But now we'll never know. Idiots. Who are these fans? Who are these people? I don't get it. Anyway, 1-800-5800-TOM is our telephone number. Let's say hi here to Kadima in Calabasas, California. How's that for alliteration? You're on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hi, Tom.
Hi.
Can I have one Hello, George before I start?
Hello, George?
Yeah. Hello, George.
Oh, one of those.
Yeah.
Hello, George.
Thank you.
I forgot. I use so many different names when I do that.
I think George is the best.
Hello, Ira.
I got a list of them, you know.
Thank you.
Is anyone named Ira under 50?
I don't know any.
Under 40?
I don't know any of those either.
Yeah.
But I don't know like an Ethel under 50 either.
That's true.
Anyway, I have two questions. The first one is, are you familiar with the Arthur D. Moss Foundation?
Yes.
Because I saw a really disturbing television commercial funded by the Arthur D. Moss Foundation, and I was just wondering what this thing is all about.
The Arthur D. Moss Foundation is a private charitable trust that provides money for all of these anti-abortion commercials that run on CNN and other Turner networks is mostly where I see them.
Okay.
Like TBS and TNT and places like that.
I figured it was something like that.
Yeah, it's kind of like a conservative version of the Ford Foundation.
Okay. My other question is, basically, I'm a very long-time listener, and I can't ever remember a time when I've disagreed with you.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm wondering, as a 20-year-old female, whether you think it's better to go out and change things, or whether you think it's best to just sort of live in the margins, accept things the way that they are, and, you know, I'm not in school right now. I put out a small publication in L.A., but I want to go back to school, and I'm just wondering what is the best thing to do? What is the best way to go?
Well, I think everybody has to find their own little way. No one person is going to have the impact that they expect to have. You're not going to change the world yourself. You got to do things on your own. Now, when I lived in Boston for a year, I didn't advertise this on the air. I didn't do it to get ratings or to get listeners. I did it because I believed in it. A friend of mine was involved in junior achievement. And she was going into inner city schools and setting up programs where kids could learn how to be successful. And she asked me if I would teach one of these courses for a semester. And nobody listening to me knew that I was doing this, so you have to understand, it was just my own thing.
Right.
And I went to an inner city school in Boston, which was like a toxic waste dump for kids. And what they did was they took everything from kids who were pregnant to kids who had behavior problems to kids who had criminal records, and they threw them all in this one school. This absolutely, I mean, the first time you walked in there, you'd be scared to death what you saw. But what was fascinating to me is I got in there and got into a classroom and started talking to kids. And I think it would be very valuable for people to go in and see what that's like, because I spent 12 weeks talking to these kids. And what you find out is that society gives up on people much too easily.
Yes.
We marginalize people. We put them aside. We say that people aren't capable of doing anything. They aren't capable of succeeding. Right out of the box. I mean, kids 12, 13 years old marked as failures before they get out the door of the high school. And what was amazing to me was if you spend enough time with the kids at that school, as I guess I did, at least for my benefit, I don't know about for theirs, you find out that they've all got dreams. And if only society could get to kids while they still have dreams, and before society tells them they're worthless, before society tells them they'll never make it, whether it be blacks or whites or whoever, before people tell them they're going to be victims of racism, before they become victims of racism, before they get out into the real world and find out some of the disappointments, if you could get a hold of them when they still dream of having a family and having a house and having a job and having maybe owning a business someday or whatever it is, if only we could do that, if only more people could do it. Now, did that change the world? No, not really. But did it change the world for those people? I hope it did. And I think I want to do it again. And I think if more people did things like that, little things in the community where they live, I think you would see an improvement as time went on. The thing is, most people say they have no time. Let me tell you, no one has less time than I have.
Mm-hmm.
And if I was able to find the time every Tuesday morning at 7:30 to show up in a high school classroom, I think everybody can do it. I think everybody can do it. And if people, especially Junior Achievement, I must say it's an organization a lot of people have forgotten about. But I was very impressed with that organization and very impressed with the work that my friend did who was running that program in Boston. And for me, that was my little way of giving something back to the community. And I wish everybody would do something like that.
Okay.
That's what I recommend.
Okay. Can I come to the listener party?
Ooh, did you call our number?
No, see, I missed it. Can I have the number again?
All right, it's 800 762 5377.
Okay.
But you have to be in Santa Monica next Thursday.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Yeah, I mean, people ask me this question all the time. Well, yeah, I vote, and what can I do? Well, if everybody had that attitude, nothing would ever happen. Thus, leaving the world to be changed by the people who have a lot of idle time on their hands and decide to go out and use it. If there is a junior achievement in your area, and you have some business skills or some background or some semblance of success in life, an entrepreneur, whatever you are, you own a small business, I urge you to call, and this is not a paid advertisement. Junior Achievement's a nonprofit organization. They don't advertise. We don't get anything from my saying this, and I frankly hadn't thought about it for a few months, so I hadn't even given it any consideration. But if there's a junior achievement where you live, how about going and pitching in and doing something? You don't have to do it on a large scale. Now, I think if everybody got together and did something in their community, I think the community would improve. And it's very easy for the conservatives to get on the radio and scream and yell and complain about minorities and scream and yell and complain about poor people and homeless people. How about getting out there and doing something once in a while, huh? Now, the next time I do something like this, I won't be announcing it again. I mean, I may mention my experience after I'm done, but I don't do these things to promote them. I do them because where I live, I think I owe something to the community where I live. I want to make the community better because I live in the community, and if I want to walk out the front door and feel better about where I live. And I'm amazed that people don't do that more often. Anyway, 17 minutes before the hour, my name is Tom Leykis, and here it is, Bill in Asheville, North Carolina. You're on the Tom Leykis Show, Bill. Hello.
Tom.
Bill.
Mega dittos from the land of the sky.
Don't start with the ditto thing, please.
I had to do that. I'm not going to get in on that other show.
I know you're not.
I go out at lunch and listen to a few minutes of that, and I just can't believe how sick I am. I can't eat lunch. And as a good friend of mine in Virginia Beach, Dave, says, we listen to him to keep tabs on what the enemy's doing.
There you go. Virginia Beach, we're on WNIS. We just had the ratings come in, and we just had great ratings there again. I want to thank the folks in Virginia for all their support. Whether they agree with this or not, that's fine. What can I do for you, Bill?
Well, you want riveting? I've got riveting.
Yeah, rivet me, Bill.
Well, there's a lot of confusion going around. And, you just touched on the 60s, and I find you real confused on the 60s, Tom.
How so?
Well, you think, what was it, the era of sex, drugs, and rock and roll? You think that was it? It was a little bit more like truth and justice, maybe, if you want to get it down to a couple simple points.
You mean there was truth and justice in the 60s?
Well, no, there's a train riding that started around then, and it's still riding. A lot of the sex, drug, and rock and rollers kind of fell off the caboose, but there's still a mainstream of movement there that, we get bashed a lot, but we're still there, and hang on to the year 2000, faithful.
Are you a sex, drugs, and rock and roll guy, Bill?
No, I've dabbled in those arts, but let me tell you, somebody like Mick Jagger and the Rolling Stones, they took all those fans out there to that sex, drugs, and rock and roll era, and You think they're out there building any kind of rehab units for them now?
That's a good question.
I don't think so.
That's a good question.
Don't think so.
Now, Bill, you were going to talk to me about procreation. What about it?
Well, you know, species, animal species, human species, they're involved in evolution, and they're involved in improving their species by procreation. And it's a function of life that occurs, and each successive generation is meant to improve, is meant to know more, is meant to survive better. And if you put it on the human system and look at it, then you see that we're kind of at the low end of the totem pole as animals go as far as dealing with our environment and our ecology and things like that.
Yeah.
Procreation, you want to, don't want to participate in it, fine. But don't knock it or don't try to destroy it or anything like that.
Well, I don't think you could destroy it. And as far as I'm concerned, everybody who likes procreating, I certainly like the activity leading up to procreation. I just don't like the potential outcome.
Well, I tell you, the practice is fun.
Yes. Oh, boy, it sounds like you've been practicing your share down there.
Well, not particularly, but we're not getting into numbers here. I am in my 40s now.
Hey!
But, the confusion out there also, Tom, era after era, 1,000-year, 2,000-year, 10,000-year histories. Yeah. We're at the end of the hunter-gatherer era of human beings.
That's true.
And soon and now we will be led and entertained by more brain-oriented type of beings that maybe deal with the truth a little more on a daily basis.
You think so?
I hope so.
Like who?
Well, like human beings in general.
Well, I can tell you that, I told this on the air in Los Angeles about 5 years ago, and people couldn't believe it. My wife and I were hanging around the house one summer night, much like tonight. Summer night, it was hot. We didn't have air conditioning. The windows were open. The fan was on. And every once in a while, a moth or something would fly in the window and circle around the lamp. And suddenly, this big, 8-legged spider, one of these ones with very, very, very long legs. I'm not an entomologist. I don't know what kind of spider it was. But one of these big spiders with long legs comes in and starts prancing around the ceiling. They kind of bounce off the ceiling, bounce off the walls, And my wife started shrieking. She was shrieking, and, there's a spider! And I went over and I rolled up a copy of the nearest magazine I could find, which happened to be Spin Magazine. I rolled up a copy of Spin Magazine. And I said, don't worry about it, honey. I'll take care of it. And I smashed the spider and I killed it. And not only was she incredibly relieved, it was the most aroused I think she's ever been. We had the best sex we ever had. And it was all because I killed a spider. Now, I think, you talk about the hunter-gatherer era, men can't go out and hunt and kill and impress their women anymore. This is all that's left. Killing bugs, taking hair out of the bathtub drain. That's about it. That's what men are good for now.
Tom, I love children and I love animals. They're the most interesting things to me right now. The adults are kind of too confused for me to deal with sometimes.
Hey, Bill, great talking to you. You call me anytime.
I hope to get through. Tom, I love the UK broadcast. That was super.
Thank you.
And, I never can get in when I want. I just walk around, and every time I see a payphone sometime, I just go dial because I'm never going to get in when I want and, do things like talk to Ralph Nader or listen, you're a little too wrapped up on this computer thing.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a guy that I haven't read this book, but he helped create the computer industry, and he wrote a book called Silicon Snake Oil. You might want to give it a read. I have it, but I tell you seem just a little too enthralled with the computer stuff.
But I would be fascinated to read a book like that. In fact, I'd be fascinated to interview the author. So maybe you could give the information to Mike. If you got the name of the author, Maybe we ought to find out who that guy is and have him on. Bill, great to talk to you. 6 minutes before the hour. My name is Tom Leykis.
You're listening to the Tom Leykis Show.
Right now, everything's on sale at the Home Life Furniture Store and Sears Furniture Departments. Save 20 to 40% on all furniture, all sofas, sleepers, and sectionals.
The dead are spared from their rightful early graves and are freed to breed even more imbeciles. Let's do away with safety and improve our species. Take up smoking, jaywalk, play with blasting caps, swim right after a big meal.
Time's up.
The Tom Leykis Show.
Talk show in Albany. And one of the top 3 radio programs in Albany at night. So thank you to everybody in the Capital District, and because there is this kind of response, we are coming to town. And hopefully we'll have some kind of listener event there, and keep listening to Radio 810 WGY. We'll tell you all about it. When I worked in Albany, Radio 810 WGY was my competition. It's funny even to be saying Radio 810 WGY, may I say. But we are thrilled to be on WGY, and we are thrilled to be in the Capital District, and we are thrilled to be coming back to town. And the people on my staff are coming with me, and I've told them all about the Capital District, and we're actually going to take a tour of all these different places where I used to live there, and where the radio station used to be that I worked, and some of the late-night establishments. I know the Lark Tavern is still in business, baby. I can't wait to get back to the Capital District. I just cannot wait. Anyway, thank you very much for tuning in. Wide Open Telephones. We do it every week at this time. Your opportunity to call in and talk about any issue we have discussed on this program thus far. It could be any issue you wish we talked about earlier in the week. It could be an issue that we did get into, but you couldn't get through on the phones. Maybe the phones were busy. Maybe you were busy. Maybe you have a personal question, a comment, a complaint about the program. You won't be the first. And you probably won't be the last either. Anyway, let's talk, you and I. 1-800-5800-TOM is the telephone number. It's toll-free from across North America. 1-800-5800-866. And we go to your telephone calls. Cynthia, a first-time caller from Manzanita, Oregon. You're on the Tom Leykis Show. Hi, Cynthia.
Hi, Tom.
Hi.
I'm just thrilled to be on your show.
Oh, cool.
Career advice.
Yes.
We have a son who, since he was in 7th grade, wanted to be a radio talk show host.
Uh-huh.
And not a disc jockey, not an engineer, but a talk show host. And he knew what that meant. And he'll be a junior in high school this year, and he's never wavered, and he still wants to do that. And since he heard you on the air, it kind of cemented the whole thing.
Wow.
He heard you about a year ago. Well, besides being there for him and believing in him, which I do, what do you do? What does he do after high school? Where does he go?
Well, if you pay attention to who's been getting radio talk shows, the fastest way to get a radio talk show is to be convicted of a felony.
Right.
So trading arms for hostages in the men's room is one good way. Spying on the Watergate Hotel, getting convicted 9 times, that's another way.
Afraid he's not going to make any of those.
No, okay, well, then he's going to have to do it the old-fashioned way, which means he's going to have to work hard. And the best way to do that is to get an education in something other than broadcasting.
Right. I've heard you say that before.
Every school that has a broadcasting or a communications department, they all hate me. You'll notice I'm not on the college lecture tour, and there's a reason for that, because I have told the truth about colleges and their communications departments. These are a total abject waste of time, a total scam, a scam that is run by failed broadcasters in most cases. These are people who couldn't compete in the real world of broadcasting where it's dog eat dog. They wanted to have tenure.
Right.
So instead of being successful at broadcasting, they camp down at a campus somewhere, and it's you could learn the same things and get paid for it. I recommend your son go to school and get a college degree and learn something other than broadcasting. It could be anything from political science to history to law to accounting to anything.
Okay. He's
anything but
really,
broadcasting.
really well in high school.
Good.
And he's taking, what's funny to me is he still maintains very vocally. He wants to be a radio talk show host, and he's really good at
Arguing?
Putting forth his... Yeah, right. But he shies completely away from anything social at school. Can't stand the high school trip.
Well, that's very common of people. That's very common of people in radio. You'd be surprised.
Just can't stand the whole social scene.
Well, I did not go to my prom, may I say?
Well, he's never.
I did not participate.
indulged.
I did not participate in the school social scene at all.
Right, he doesn't.
My social scene was away from school with other people.
That's what he does.
All right. So you understand he has a lot in common with people in this business.
Okay, well.
Many of the people I know in this business.
When I heard you talk about your early years
Yeah.
and your feelings about school, it was like having you describe him.
Well, and I must tell you, there are many people, and you're going to think I'm kidding when I say this, but there are many kids who grow up to be in radio, whether it be talk show hosts or otherwise, who sit in their closet at home talking into a cassette recorder, hoping nobody will hear them, and pretending to be on the radio. Or they talk into a garden hose in their backyard, pretending they have a microphone.
And the other thing that's surprising is he doesn't take the speech classes, he doesn't take this and that and the other thing, although he speaks very well.
Yeah. I would recommend...
He does take all the hard sciences.
I would recommend when he goes to college, and certainly if he has one in high school, to join the debate team. I didn't do that because I had a built-in debate team at home. My father and I used to yell and scream at each other over the kitchen table, but every family's not like that,
Right.
okay? So I recommend the debate team,
Okay.
which is a good way to prepare for this kind of work. It certainly is an expanding field for people who want to work very hard. And I'm writing a book about this, so I'm very familiar with my own background. I've been like remembering things I'd forgotten. I was near bankruptcy at least 3 times. At one point when I was talking about Albany, New York. At one point when I was living in Albany, what the audience didn't know was that I was so poor that I literally had to have a garage sale in my apartment, and I had to sell like my typewriter for $10. I was broke. And so you really have to be prepared, again, unless you want to be convicted of a felony and shoot right to the top of the list. If you're going to do it the old-fashioned way, you really have to be prepared for some financial hardship, for some moving to different cities.
Yeah, he likes everything new, everything different, never afraid to move. We've moved quite often.
He's got to be prepared to do that. And he's got to be prepared to learn the mechanics of radio. But I don't recommend that he do that in a college. I recommend when he's going to college, get a part-time job at a radio station, running the board for shows like this one, where you press the buttons and you insert, like, the local commercials into the show. 17 minutes before the hour. The Tom Leykis Show. Thanks for tuning in. Diane, a first-time caller from Roseburg, Oregon. You're on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Well, we have a complaint. It's against the Levi's Corporation.
Specifically Levi's.
Specifically Levi's.
Okay.
Levi's Women's 501s.
What's the problem?
The problem is, forever I've been able to go in and not even have to try on Levi's. Just go in, pick up my size, and leave. And now they have changed the fit of the jeans. They are now a universal fit. Well,
weren't they a universal fit before?
No, women's were different.
How so?
Women, they were higher in the waist. They fit more tapered because the women's waist is, is skinnier.
You're telling me they had more sizes before?
I don't know if they had more sizes. I could just go in and get my size, but now they do it like they do the men's. The waist is shorter, so they fit on your hips instead of in your waist.
Right.
And they don't fit the same. So now they've gone, we talked to the Levi's Corporation. My friend and I, we registered our complaints, and then they said they went to a universal fit. And we said, what's the universal fit? That's a man's fit? And he said, yes. So now not only it's a man's fit, but they're also charging us $10, $15, sometimes $20 more for women than men's, and they fit the same.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So what we would like to do is, since you are a nationwide show, we would like all the women out there to call up the Levi's Corporation, 1-800-USA-LEVI, and if they like the old women's 501s, to complain. Because if they get enough complaints, they will do something about it.
I'm sure they want to know about that.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure they'd want to know.
Until I went in to go buy a pair of jeans, and, they don't fit anymore. I have to try them on. I don't have time to try on clothes. I work 50, 60 hours a week. I don't have time for it.
Interesting. Well, as a man, I had not realized this was a problem.
Oh, yeah. Oh yeah, they see. I guess they started making the women's 501s like years ago because of the complaints. And to wear men's Levi's, you have to get them big enough to fit around the hips for women.
Yeah.
And then the waist is too big. You either have to wear a belt or you have to tuck the sides in, and then you have all these little bunches. And they just don't fit the same.
Wow. Wow. All right, Diane. Well, we'll see if anyone else notices that.
I hope they do, because we are extremely upset. It's not fair, and it's not fair for them to charge us more because it says women.
Gotcha.
Thanks, Tom.
Thanks, Diane.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye. Here's Sherry, a first-time caller from Seattle. Sherry, you're on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hi, Tom.
Hi.
I love your show.
Thank you.
My question is, well, actually, I wanted to know your opinion about this young lady, Shannon Faulkner, who's being admitted as a cadet at the Citadel.
Yeah. My opinion is that she should, if she wants to get in, she should get in. But if she wants to get in, I think that should be a precedent, and that any all-female organizations should also be open to men.
I agree with you.
And the problem I have is that women want to get into men's organizations, plus they want to have their own organizations that exclude men.
Well, I was wondering, and also, what do you think of the preferential treatment? I understand, I heard on the news today that the men can no longer just wrap a towel around themselves. They're going to have to wear robes now. There's also going to be a video camera installed outside of her room for any pranksters. What's your opinion about that?
Well, I certainly, I don't think there should be preferential treatment for anybody. Period. Period. You want to be in there, you should be treated like the rest.
I agree.
And all the new cadets go in, they are always victims of pranks and hazing rituals and what have you.
Exactly.
If that's okay for the men, it's okay for the women.
I agree.
There you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye. Mark, also in Seattle. You're on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hi, Tom.
Hi, Mark.
Man, I got my little newsletter from the fan club.
Oh, you got the fan club newsletter. I have it right in front of me here.
Exactly. And what's this about you working on a stand-up routine or something like that?
Well, we hadn't talked about it on the air. That was exclusive to the newsletter, but...
yeah. Well, I was just kind of curious about it.
I am working on a stand-up act, a one-man show, similar to a show I did in Los Angeles in 1989.
Oh, you've done it before then?
I have done it before.
Oh.
And we are talking about the possibility of debuting it in Seattle.
Oh, I'll be there.
But okay, good. We don't know exactly when
it
yet.
Works out. I understand that.
But we're working with the buzz on that, and I'm hoping we have something to announce soon.
Well, we've got the Alpines up here. Maybe you can work with them on it as well, because they've done some fill-in for Karen Grace and whatnot, and they're a pretty good comedy act, so they can maybe turn you on to something like that.
Well, this is going to be like a one-man show at a theater like the Paramount or somewhere like that.
Oh, something, a bigger venue.
Big.
Oh, cool.
This is going to be a big deal.
Right on, man. I enjoyed meeting you at the Bite, and it was an excellent show there. I caught you guys on Saturday.
Oh, I was on with Pat Cashman, yeah.
Yeah, he was good.
Pat was excellent. Pat was on.
I want to get Pat to send you he didn't bring one of his little things he does.
About me?
No, it wasn't about you. It was another little thing he does on the side, and I'm going to be calling him about it. I can't remember the exact name of it, but I'll call him tomorrow and see about having him send it to you, because I asked him, I said, no, you got to play that for Tom, because it was funnier than hell. So I'll have him send that Bite to you.
Well, Pat Cashman, who does the morning show on the Buzz, I think that's one of the funniest morning shows in the country. I think he's just a great
he's
talent.
Right up there. He's really good. And ever since they brought the lady from that did Traffic, you know how
Lisa Foster, yeah.
Right. Well, ever since they teamed them up together, it's been really good. I really enjoy it.
Cool.
In fact, I wake up. I don't have to be up till 9, but I wake up till at 5 just to catch the show.
Oh, that's great.
Okay, Tom, you have a good evening.
Well, I'm glad you got the newsletter there, Mark, and thanks.
Oh, yeah, it's really interesting. And some people should, around the country call in and get on the bandwagon with it. It's actually, they called me up. I was like half asleep one night, and I'm like, yeah, I did sign up for that. And she's like, well, we need to clarify your address, whatnot. I kind of wrote sloppy, and next thing I know, she says, well, you'll be getting our newsletter. I think, little one-page thing, but no, they actually did it up really nice.
No, it's a very, very professional job. It looks great.
Yeah.
And for people who haven't seen it, if they drop a line to us, we'll put them in touch with the fan club.
Oh, definitely.
And they can get a copy of the newsletter.
All right, Tom, you keep keeping the action going out there. It's awesome.
Thank you, Mark.
Take it easy, man.
Take care. Bye-bye. 9 minutes before the hour.
Sent 50,000 young men to the other side of the globe to die for nothing since then?
Not yet.
What about a draft of 18 to 25-year-olds, Tom, to participate in an unpopular war? Have we done anything
actually,
like that?
you do have to register for the draft, something that had been eliminated and was reinstated.
Have we been drafting
you have to register for the draft, and selective service still exists.
Have we been drafting 18 to 25-year-olds?
Was selective service disbanded?
Pardon me?
Was selective service disbanded?
Have we drafted?
Was it disbanded
in a war?
Have we eliminated the draft?
I don't know, but have we
we?
People to participate?
It can be done, right?
Pardon me?
It can happen, can't
You
it?
think there'll be another draft? You actually think?
Why do we have draft registration?
Pardon me?
What is the purpose of draft registration?
Can you imagine a situation where we would have another draft?
Yeah, because we have draft registration. Believe me, they don't do that stuff for nothing.
What instance would?
Tell me why we have draft registration.
Well, give me an example.
Tell me
when we
why.
might have a draft.
Tell me why, Bill.
When might we?
All right, I've had enough. Oh, man, oh, man. You know, I'm asking a question, and he's asking a question. And I'm asking, and he's asking, and nobody's answering. Man, oh, man. Chris in San Luis Obispo, California. You're on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hi, Tom.
Hi.
It's a pleasure to speak with you. I was a fan of yours when you were in Los Angeles and was hugely disappointed when all of a sudden one day you were gone. It was weird. I turned on whatever that, I can't remember the name of the station.
Whatever it was.
And there you were. There you weren't. And these two guys, these idiots, I'm sorry. But anyway, first thing is, did you know you were born on the same day as Jerry Garcia?
Yes.
I caught your show, and I'd like to take a quote from Bob Dylan out of the L.A. Times on Thursday. He said, "There's no way to measure his greatness or magnitude as a person or as a player. His playing was moody, awesome, sophisticated, hypnotic, and subtle. There's no way to convey the loss." Just to say that Bob Dylan probably is someone that understands music a bit and thought.
All I will say is when I have seen Bob Dylan on like Letterman and some of these other shows.
Uh-oh.
Have you seen him in the last few years?
No, I haven't.
I don't know if it's just that he's punch drunk or what it is. I can't understand a word he's singing. I can't understand a word of it. And you're reading me this quote, and I wonder if it's like a prepared statement. And who wrote it?
Well, my point is just that I would say that everybody's got their taste in music, and Garcia certainly hit a chord that was pretty universal, and, amen to him. The next thing is the 60s. You beat up pretty heavy on the 60s, and in general, I can't say that I disagree grossly with a lot of your points of view. I do tend to agree with you most of the time. What I'd like to say about the 60s is I think you just said you were 39.
Yeah.
You're probably about 10 years too young to really have gotten the sense of what happened in the 60s besides drug, sex, and rock and roll. I think that there was a really dawning of the consciousness of the American people. I mean,
but that's not true because it was certainly not lasting.
Well,
because everything the American people were for then, they're against now.
Tom, I think it was lasting. I think you have an extremely obvious women's rights movement that came about. You have
and how many women would admit to being a member?
Well, a lot of women would admit.
How many heterosexual women would admit to being feminists? How many? How many? I'm serious.
Well, no, I think that it's much
a lot less than there were in the 60s.
Well, let me go on with my litany here.
Go ahead.
Government duplicity was exposed. Environmental consciousness was brought to the fore. Civil rights for people of color definitely became an issue, and the world suddenly became really small. All of a sudden they were up in space, and it became the green planet, and we're all just this brotherhood now.
Oh, we are?
Well, no.
Really?
Wait.
I see ethnic cleansing in Bosnia. I see the mafia in Russia. I see the right-wingers taking over Congress.
I can't disagree with
I see us rolling back all of the progress that was made in the 60s. There was no lasting change.
The Tom Leykis Show.
It's Friday, wide open telephones. The name of the game here, anything goes. Toll free at 1-800-5800-TOM. Or you can fax us here at 310-854-4455. We can talk about any issue we've discussed on the program so far. Or maybe there's an issue we haven't gotten into. You can drag us right into it here on the Tom Leykis Show.
Morning guy Pat Cashman, but you can just call him Mr. Sunshine. Weekday mornings on The Buzz, 100.7 FM, KIRO FM Seattle.
President Clinton says Jerry Garcia had a great gift and that he was sad when he heard the legendary Grateful Dead guitarist had died. And in an interview to be broadcast on MTV, the president said those who loved Garcia's music should also reflect on the consequences of what he said was really self-destructive behavior. Band members and close friends and family were the only ones present at Garcia's funeral, which was held today in Belvedere, California, near San Francisco. Oregon Senator Bob Packwood says he takes strong exception.
And for women who want to have children to take that seriously or not have them. And the same thing with men who have children. It's time for us to take this job seriously. The world is screwed up. And I want less people having kids and more people who want to have kids being the ones to have them.
Yeah, for that to happen, though, children have to have more value. And that value starts, not when you decide that to give birth, but when you decide to father or mother a child.
Yes.
So when you said that in the lead into that God, she should have had an abortion or something.
She should have.
Somebody intentionally saying, well, I don't care about human life. Well, so much so that it's convenient for me just to have an abortion and just get rid of human life rather than...
No, I think that you're better off having an abortion than having children, but you've decided your partying days aren't over, so you'll just bring the kid. It's like all these idiots who call me and say, your life won't change when you have children. That is the biggest lie in the world. Your life changes forever when you have kids. And if you're not done partying, and you're not done dating, and you're not done looking for the right man or woman to be with, you are not ready to have kids.
I agree 100%.
And it's time for people to stop having them when they're not ready.
I agree, but abortion is worse. To me, that's worse. That's the taking human life intentionally. That's not some woman that made a crazy, not stupid mistake, but careless, reckless, negligent mistake is what she did. But it was a mistake. She didn't intend to kill the children. But an abortion, you intend, just out of convenience of it, perhaps, to take human life. Now, you may not agree that that's a human being, but I don't think anybody could argue that an unborn child is not human life.
I don't debate abortion on this show, Gene, as you know.
Oh, you don't? Okay.
No, I don't. I mean, you've expressed your opinion. I give you the opportunity.
I have, and I know it's probably not an opinion that's held by...
it's just my opinion is that you don't change any opinions on this issue. I mean, you either agree or you disagree, and people pretty much know where they stand.
On that issue, I'd like to see us get to a point, and I'm not going to debate it, but I'd like to see us get to a point where people recognize that unborn children are human life and recognize that a woman has a lot of say, at least, in...
Well, I'd like to see a point where the anti-abortion movement... or people who are opposed to abortion start encouraging us to have more readily available birth control and birth control education. Because all too many teenagers are getting pregnant. All too many women are getting pregnant without thinking about the consequences of getting pregnant and having a child.
Yeah.
It's time to start telling people the reality and stop lying to women and telling them your life doesn't change when you have kids.
Yeah, well,
your life changes forever when you have kids.
Yeah, that point is true. Tom, when you come up against a tough situation like that, and that's one tough situation without getting into the argument itself, what do you use as a basis for deciding right from wrong? Not everything is a slide, and you seem to be kind of a happy-go-lucky guy and kind of slide into things, and whatever seems to go goes. But when you get down to push comes to shove, what do you...
Well, anything doesn't go. I mean, I treat people the way I want to be treated.
So it's do unto others as others would do unto you.
Exactly.
So doesn't that really base your decision of right and wrong on what somebody else thinks?
Yeah, to a certain extent it does.
That doesn't give a lot of value to yourself, though, does it?
Well, I do what's right for me when it doesn't affect other people. When it affects other people, I do to them what I would expect them to do to me.
What happens when push comes to shove and what is good for you isn't good for somebody else? Who wins?
You have to make a decision, and it's a case-by-case basis. You're trying to have me paint a gray area into black or white.
Well, sometimes it's got to get down
I'll tell you what, if my wife gets pregnant, and I will not put a gun to her head, it is something we discussed.
Yeah.
And we agreed upon already. My wife gets pregnant, she will have an abortion. Period.
Is that her decision or your decision?
It's a mutual decision.
Why?
Because I don't want to have children.
Oh. See, that's pretty far out. I can't imagine that two people that really care about each other and would father and mother a child would not want that life to that type life to take place.
You'll be happy to know that I've my wife and I have been together for 5 years, give or take, and we've never had an accidental pregnancy. We do use birth control devices, and we do try to prevent pregnancy every possible way.
Mm-hmm.
But if an accident were to occur, it will be dealt with an abortion.
But when does an accident become a person?
Well, that's up to the individual to decide.
Well, that's where I take issue with you, Tom, and not on this issue, but on other things as well.
It is a matter of religious belief. Gee.
I agree, but it's not up to an individual to decide.
Yes, it is. By law, it is.
No.
By law, it is.
I don't think that law and legal makes right.
But I'm telling you, I also don't think that any squatter has the right to live inside a person or in somebody's house or anywhere else if they're not wanted, period.
So you would say an unborn child is basically a squatter?
Indeed, if it's unwanted.
Okay.
If it's unwanted.
Then at what point does it become endowed with some rights? And I don't mean
when it is born.
I don't mean according to the Constitution.
When it is born.
What do you base that decision on?
It's my opinion. And you know what? Since the law is on my side, my opinion is all that matters to me and my wife.
Well, what if, what about it? Let's back up a few years where it wasn't on your side.
I would still go the same way. We would find some way to fly to a country where it's legal.
If you got the money.
Oh, well, fortunately, I do.
I understand. But I just try to get to the point where at what point does a human life...
I'm not getting into that with you because everybody has a different opinion on it.
Okay.
Everybody does. And the Bible isn't going to be the deciding factor. We have separation of church and state in this country.
But I understand the state and the legal thing, but not everything that's legal is right. Not everything that's illegal is wrong.
Well, I mean, this country during the Persian Gulf War killed 250,000 Iraqis in the blink of an eye. We didn't bother to see which ones were innocent or guilty. We just blanketed them with bombs. We killed all these people, and nobody thought twice about it. Nobody thought twice about it. So this whole idea of the sanctity of life is just a load of claptrap because that many of the people who are opposed to abortion are in favor of war. They are in favor of big military weapons to wipe out as many people as we decide to wipe out. So it just doesn't rub with me.
But then what is the value of life if there isn't that?
What is the value of life when you kill 250,000 people in 3 months? What's the value of life there?
The value of life is that there's a principle that's more valuable than life itself.
I see. So there are some people who should be killed.
There are some people that should be killed, but must die in order to support an ideal.
How about all the people who were killed in Vietnam? What did they die for?
Well,
now looking back, what did they die for?
They died basically for an ideal. Now,
what ideal was that?
The ideal of freedom.
But were we any more free after the Vietnam War?
Not all ideals are realized.
Were we any less free because Vietnam was being taken over by the communists?
Yes.
We were? How so?
Maybe I didn't hear your question.
Were we any less free when Vietnam was being taken over by communists?
People were less free.
Were we less free?
Yes, we are people, whether we live in the United States.
So in other words, you have no the sanctity of life means nothing to you if people are another color and they live in another country and some president decides to tell you to go out and kill them, then it's perfectly okay. But if it's my wife and I making a personal decision, you want to get involved in her uterus. And I'm amazed at that, Gene. I'll tell you what, you start worrying about your own backyard and how many people your taxpayer dollars have killed, and after you get your house in order, then talk to me about sanctity of life.
Well, I understand your position, and I think there is an ideal that's worth fighting for and dying for, and a lot of people have agreed or we wouldn't be where we were at. And I think
a lot of people did not agree about the Vietnam War and refused to go, if you'll recall, Jay.
Yeah, I understand the Vietnam, that's true.
Vietnam, we simply walked away because too many Americans said, no, we're not going anymore.
The principle of dying for an ideal is one that many people stood up for, whether in Vietnam
and many did not.
I agree.
And proudly so.
But that principle is based on the sanctity of life and that a person
No, it's not.
has value.
No, that is, please, that is oh, man, listen to what you're saying. The principle of killing people is based on the sanctity of life. Gene, that's where I cut it off. That's where I draw the line, but thank you for calling in. It's the sanctity of life. That's why we have wars and we kill people, because we believe in a principle. It's the sanctity of life. Hello? 20 minutes after the hour. My name is Tom Leykis.
Coast to Coast, the Tom Leykis Show.
Birth to a child knowing there's a 50% chance that they will be born with a disability.
Right.
Is that right to do?
Well,
now, of course, you have to decide for yourself, but it's certainly not something I would want to do.
No.
And I could not believe the firestorm of controversy that came out of that.
I bet.
Because, let's face it, if you can know this stuff in advance, why put more people through that if they don't have to go through it?
Well, that's just it. I had a 50% chance, male or female,
Right.
of getting a healthy child.
Right.
And I thanked God that I had a daughter. And I will tell you exactly what I did. I signed the papers when I had an amniocentesis and found out that I had a daughter, that after she was born, they were to tie my tubes.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly what happened.
And you never wanted to go through that
I
again.
was so thankful. Had I, you know what, had I known, and, you know, I love my daughter dearly, and, oh, please, you know, she and I get along so well. But emotionally, I don't remember Thanksgiving of that year when I was raising. I don't remember Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
I was in an emotional hole somewhere, just contemplating the fact that I was going to possibly have to abort a baby that I wanted very much.
Mm-hmm.
So I just thanked God that it was a girl, and I thought, my prayers have been answered. Tie the tubes, and I'm not going to put myself through this. I'm not going to take a chance on having to have an abortion later. But the papers were already signed that's what was going to happen if it came up male. I could not put a child through what I saw and lived my brothers go through.
Well, Kathy, it takes guts, and you were there, so you know what happens to a family.
And exactly what my mother is still going through now.
And will go through
of 2 children.
She will go through it for the rest of her life.
Absolutely.
And people just don't think about
that. She's a totally different person now.
Yeah.
Totally different than what she was before.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Took a lot of guts, Kathy. I respect you.
Call and put my 2 cents in.
I'm glad you did.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Tough position to be in. She made a gutsy decision. And I'm sure people would like to give her crap for it. Don't do it, please. Until you lived in that situation, you just don't know. 16 minutes before the hour, my name is Tom Leykis.
This is the Tom Leykis Show.
What would I do if I had more energy? I think I'd get out and rollerblade.
I'd get into the office earlier.
I'd run around the block.
Jinsana's on the street asking, what would you do with more energy? I'd probably get another job. Have you ever heard of Jinsana?
Jinsana.
It's an all-natural supplement proven to help build energy and endurance.
My mother takes it. She works hard, so she needs it.
The key word here is natural.
Energizing supplement, huh?
Jinsana is premium ginseng in a capsule, and it helps your body utilize oxygen better. You need oxygen. Something that would give me more energy without caffeine or sugar, I think would be tremendous. Did you know that Jinsana helps your cardiovascular system work more efficiently?
Anything good for the cardiovascular has got to be exciting.
If you want more energy, try Jinsana for a few weeks and watch your energy level increase. Feel the difference or your money back guaranteed.
A money back guarantee?
If I had a lot of energy, I know exactly what I'd do.
Go jogging.
Play basketball longer with my kids.
I'd play some Cajun Bach.
For valuable information, call 800-777-2000. 800-777-2000. Jinsana. More energy for life.
If this could get me moving, I'd do it.
Hey, it's summer. The nights are long and hot. Well, I mean sometimes. the nights are long, but it's not always hot. And sometimes even cool. After all, this is Seattle. Am I digressing? Yeah, I guess so. What was I going to talk about? Oh, yeah, the Buzz 100.7 FM and their evening lineup. It all starts off at 7 with Dr. Laura. Then at 10, it's Jim Bohannon. And for those late nights when it's hot and you can't sleep and you got nothing to read and you're tired of counting sheep, it's Tom Leykis at 1 a.m. So stick around, because the Buzz is going on all day long right here on 100.7 FM.
It's your weekend, full of fun, frivolity, and heartwarming family interaction.
Ooh, I got a great weekend ahead of me. I got a bowl of weeds, dust the living room blinds, pick up my Aunt Sadie at the airport, and she drives me crazy.
Okay, weekends sound nice, but in reality, they're nuts. That's why there's the Buzz 100.7 FM. Cool your heels with our weekend lineup. Catch Jim Hightower at 10 a.m., followed by David Essel at 1 p.m. So when you're running around, tune us in, the Buzz 100.7 FM. things that don't translate to radio. The program that would probably work much better on TV with your hosts, Vince and Larry, the Crash Test Dummies.
Hey, Larry, what do we got today that doesn't translate to radio?
30-mile-an-hour car crashes. To prove a point, Fiji Nakatomi, world-renowned sumo wrestler, is going to sit on your head.
Okay. What? Wait, no!
You see, the impact of a 30-mile-an-hour car crash equals the same force this rotund wrestler is exerting on your cranium.
Yeah, and it sure doesn't translate to radio.
You bet it doesn't. Oh, I wish the listeners could see the weird shape your head is taking on.
So what we're trying to prove is...
Safety belts absorb the force.
Minutes before the hour. From Los Angeles, the Tom Leykis Show. We're 1-800-5800-TOM. Paul, a first-time caller from Springfield, Illinois. You're on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hi, Tom. How you doing?
Okay, Paul.
I got a question, and I don't know how you'll take the question, but here it is. If you had to choose between living with a disability or not existing, and you had a chance to make that decision, would you?
I can't say because I don't have a disability.
Right.
I don't know the answer.
Okay.
I have known people, and I have discussed this issue, and have known people on both sides of the fence. It depends upon in how much pain they tend to be, how much their disability affects them, how willing they are to adapt and learn, how to get along in society that is not built for people with disabilities. Some people I've known want to commit suicide, and some people I've known are thrilled that their parents had them and raised them. They're all over the map.
I'm one of the guys that's thrilled. But you know what? Your producer made a good point to me.
What's that?
On the phone, he said you really can't know because you can't be non-existent and still have. You can't non-exist and still exist at the same time, and he's right about that.
And if you were never born, you'd never know the difference.
Never know the difference, right? And I think it comes down to what the people it comes down to me. Like my daughter, she was born with a disability, but it doesn't show up. It's just there, but it's never showed up. And we're pretty happy and lucky about that. You know what I'm saying?
Of course you are.
But it's really we are the ones who are making decisions whether she is better off to be in the world or not. It's something that the person that has the disability never has a choice to decide.
Well, and none of us had a choice to decide if we were going to be born.
That's right.
None of us had a choice.
I just want to tell you, thanks a lot. Okay,
Certainly.
and you know something?
What's
I don't
that?
agree with you, but I love your show.
Hey,
and
thank
I can't
you.
make no sense of that. You take care, sir.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Take care, Paul. Bye-bye. 1-800-5800-TOM. Gerald in Fort Wayne, Indiana. First-time caller to the Tom Leykis Show. Hi.
Hello, Tom.
Hi.
I just have a little rant to go off on here about the media.
Yes.
Basically, your late-night TV newscast that you see about the Internet.
Yes.
Regarding the people that are online supposedly stalking the children, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
That doesn't happen on the actual Internet. I'm a computer consultant, and computers are everything I do, so I'm pretty versed in the subject.
Right.
And without going into details, it basically happens on your major online services. Am I allowed to mention those by name?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
People know what they are.
Just wanna
CompuServe,
make sure.
Prodigy, America Online, sure.
Yeah, Prodigy, America Online, CompuServe, et cetera, et cetera. But when you have a real Internet account, such as through a local Internet service provider, a university, et cetera, you don't encounter all of that stuff that they show on TV. So just to let the other people know that when they are talking about the Internet on your...
What are you talking about, like child pornography and stuff like that?
Yeah, they're not talking about...
Well, you can get to that stuff.
What's that?
You can get to that stuff.
That is correct, but they're talking like when your child logs on, they're going to be stalked by a person. When a person's using a local Internet connection, they don't get that.
Well,
it's
also...
not like America Online where somebody can instant message you and harass you.
Would you let your child drive your car?
No.
You know, like a 10-year-old, 9-year-old, 8-year-old, you know... It's amazing. It's amazing. Why don't we ban cars? Because what if a kid drove a car? He could drive over other people. He could cause damage.
That is right.
You know, and so you say, well, I watch my car, but what if he goes over to the neighbor's house? Well, you know, it's amazing how nobody worries about that. We don't ban cars.
Right.
But when it comes to the computer, everybody's just too damn busy to watch what the kids are doing. So all of a sudden it's like, oh, no, the kid's going to log on and see pornography. Why aren't you sitting there with the kid? Why aren't you spending time with your child? What if he goes over to a neighbor's house? Well, please. Don't you know where your kid is going and who he's hanging out with?
Right. The only person's job it is to police your kids is your own.
That's right.
And that's something that needs to be stressed with the whole computer usage deal. And people were up in arms about things like the game Doom that has excessive graphic violence in it.
Well.
But like you said, that's...
How many kids have $60 to buy that CD?
Not very many.
You bet.
But their parents do.
Right. So if they have Doom in the house, how did it get there?
Exactly.
You can't log on to Doom. You have to have a CD-ROM disc.
Right. Right.
So people don't like Doom. If you don't like Doom, don't buy it.
That's right. It's all comes down to parental responsibility.
That's right.
But just to let the people know that are all paranoid about the nightly news reports about their child pornography and such that happens on the internet, it happens on your major online providers. It doesn't really happen on the internet. If I'm logging into, say, NASA and browsing through some graphics that they have available of, say, a Mars mission, I'm not going to be harassed by somebody else while I'm online.
You are right about that. You are right about that, Gerald. Thank you for the call. 7 minutes before the hour, wide open telephones. My name is Tom Leykis.
You're listening to the Tom Leykis Show. Your friends have invited you out on their boat. You're really enjoying the sun, the wind, the waves, when suddenly it hits you. Motion sickness. Too bad. If only you were taking Dramamine before you departed, you'd be fine now. Most often recommended by doctors and pharmacists, Dramamine offers a full line of motion sickness remedies, including long-lasting, less drowsy Dramamine 2. Dramamine. It takes the motion sickness out of travel. Use only as directed.
Hey, what's cooking?
Well, pretty much everything. You see, my freezer broke.
Good timing. Right now, everything's on sale at Sears Brand Central.
Everything?
Yep. Through Saturday, get great savings on all appliances, electronics, and computers, including top name brands like Sony, Whirlpool, GE, Packard Bell, and more. It's all on sale.
So if I hurry, maybe I can pick up a new freezer before the rest of this food thaws.
Sure.
Oh, that's great. Here, you want a hamburger?
Well, no,
How about some chicken? These pork chops.
Sale ends Saturday at Sears Brand Central. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Something to eat, please.
Hi, you asked to see the manager?
Son, I see you're rolling out a new Santa Fe pizza here.
Round Table's new zesty Santa Fe chicken pizza. Black bean, salsa, little jalapeno.
Well, son, I can turn this Round Table of yours into a little slice of Santa Fe. Some turquoise paint, some chili pepper lights.
Right.
Really
Look,
love.
I'm pretty busy today.
Well, listen, when you think Santa Fe, what do you think of?
Salsa and mild green chilies.
No, forget the fancy food, son. Think coyotes.
Coyotes. Oh, wait, what are you... No, get those dogs out of here.
No, they're not technically dogs.
I don't care.
Now, you mentioned salsa, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
Well, then your Round Table needs a salsa band.
No, look, I don't want your
minute.
plastic slice of Santa Fe. I just want to make a good Southwestern pizza.
Oh, well, that's the way you feel about it.
Well, all right, I'll take the salsa band.
Teach your taste buds to salsa with the new zesty Santa Fe chicken pizza, served with sides of salsa and jalapeno. Available for a limited time at Round Table Pizza.
Hi, we're talking to people about Talk Along, the affordable portable phone service from U.S. West. With me here is Ann Wiesner, and you're a...
homemaker, and I might as well tell you right off,
Yeah.
I wouldn't spend a lot of money on a cellular phone, no matter what.
Well, that's just it. Talk Along is the affordable portable, with 2 coverage plans starting as low as $19.95 a month, and calls only 35 cents a minute, 15 minutes included a month.
Well, I can't see using it for more than, like, getting directions, checking up at home,
Sure.
car trouble,
Well, that's the kind of everyday use Talk Along was designed for.
and getting it all hooked up. Cellular phones aren't like regular phones, you know.
You're right. Talk Along has made cellular simpler. You activate it yourself in minutes with a simple phone call. No long-term commitment. Cancel any time.
And I hate anything bulky in my purse.
I can't believe this. You're bringing up every single reason Talk Along was developed. Let's put it in your purse and see. Hey, you've already got one.
Yeah, had it for months. I love it.
Yeah, but see, you...
Oh, you look like such a nice guy. I thought I'd help you out.
Yeah, but...
Gotta go. Great interview. Really.
Thanks.
When you're shopping for school supplies, pick up Talk Along, available now at Larry's Markets and Payless drugstores.
Nighttime is the right time on The Buzz. After Tom, catch Dr. Laura at 7, followed by Jim Bohannon, here on The Buzz 100.7 FM. Now, back to the Tom Leykis Show on The Buzz 100.7 FM, Seattle.
minutes before the hour. My name is Tom Leykis. This is the Tom Leykis Show. Thanks for tuning in. Christina, a first-time caller from Bellevue, Washington. You're on the Tom Leykis Show. Hi.
Hi, how you doing?
Okay.
Boy, I sure do like your show.
Thank you.
And I agree with about 99% of what you say.
We'll take that.
This is what I have a problem with. I do not think it's every woman's responsibility to acclimate themselves to every situation that happens to have been male-dominated for centuries. I think it is a dual responsibility for both parties, both men and women, to acclimate to have a coexistent type of existence.
Should the YWCA install urinals?
If there was no YMCA, yes.
What if a man wanted to belong to the YWCA?
If a man wanted to belong to the YWCA, I think that we would have to acclimate.
So you would have to put a urinal in there?
Yes.
And how do you know a man doesn't want to join?
Hasn't he stepped forward?
You never know. There's some guy with an attorney probably just waiting.
And if I was his attorney, I would sue the YWCA to put in a urinal.
Really? Interesting. So you think that what acclamations do you think should be? Well, put it this way: what concessions should the Citadel make to have Shannon Faulkner?
That's a tough. I can't really say because I don't know exactly everything that they're doing at the Citadel. But for instance, I'm going to have to start off with the push-ups. A woman is built physically different than a male, and I don't think that she should have to do the push-ups the way a male does, and as many as a male does, to get the same grade.
How will she be an effective soldier if she does not follow the regimen?
Now, she can do push-ups in a way that her body was built for.
But you're saying she shouldn't do as many. Will she be as strong?
She can do as many, and she will be just as strong if she does them the way her body was built.
All right, Christina, I would love to talk about this with you further, but we have run out of time.
From Westwood One Entertainment, this is the Tom Leykis Show.
Oh, boy. Have a great weekend. And got a lot of stuff coming up next week on the program, which you'll be hearing about. Also, as we told you, we're coming to Sacramento, Albany, New Orleans, New York. Going to be all over the country beginning at the end of August, so look for us. Drop us some email. I'll be checking in over the weekend. My email address is my name, TOMLEYKIS @AOL.com. We're the Tom Leykis Show.
You want something irreverent, outrageous, scandalous? Well, you should be ashamed. But keep it here on The Buzz, 100.7 FM, KIRO FM Seattle.
CBS News, I'm Ed Crane. Shannon Faulkner will make history tomorrow. Supreme Court Justice Antonin Scalia has turned down the Citadel's last appeal to keep her from becoming the first woman cadet at the previously all-male South Carolina Military College. The 20-year-old says she doesn't expect any preferential treatment nor any hostility.
Expect any from anyone, no matter whether it's at the Citadel or outside the Citadel. I expect to be treated exactly how they treat everyone else, and not all of the cadets are against me.
We apologize for that technical difficulty. An expert witness's six-figure service to the Simpson defense team ended today in Los Angeles. Correspondent David Dow has been covering the double murder trial.
Dr. Michael Baden, the prominent pathologist with a resume of famous cases, left jurors with a scenario for two murders that sharply conflicts with the coroner's. As he views the evidence, Nicole Brown Simpson and Ronald Goldman died after prolonged struggles. All told, it may have taken Goldman up to 20 minutes to die after the first of 22 stab wounds. Biden conceded he couldn't place the time of death, but the portrayal of a lengthy process presses the prosecution timeline, which has Simpson at the murder scene at about 10:15 p.m. and home talking to a limo driver 40 minutes later.
Ross no longer cares to be boss. An independent candidate for president in 1992, Ross Perot told followers of his grassroots political organization today he has no plans to run again. Then he opened his United We Stand America convention to a host of would-be contenders, including the Reverend Jesse Jackson. The CBS News New York Times poll finds a number of Americans turned on by Perot's ideas. even if they're turned off by Perot the person.
They don't necessarily like Ross Perot. More people have an unfavorable view of him personally than have a favorable view. But they do think he's adding to the political discussion and that he has good ideas about government.
Kathleen Frankovic, the director of surveys for CBS News. Day 2 of the president's quest to reduce tobacco use among young people found him appearing on MTV, where he was asked,
"Why should they listen to you about this issue?"
Well, they don't have to listen to me about this issue. What we're going to do is change the law.
Mr. Clinton concedes he likes an occasional cigar, much to the dismay of his wife and daughter. Cigars and pipe tobacco are not affected by the administration's proposals to curb tobacco use by minors. If they build it, Bud might come. Houston Oilers owner Bud Adams spent the day in Nashville with Mayor Phil Bredesen, who promised to build a new stadium if Adams moves the Houston Oilers to Music City. The two inked an agreement that the team would negotiate exclusively with the city and the state of Tennessee for 60 days, allowing Bredesen and company time to draft a concrete proposal. Adams has been demanding that Houston build a new downtown stadium for his team. The Oilers now play at the Astrodome and rarely to a sellout crowd. This is CBS News.
It's the fourth and final major, the capper to the golf season. It's the PGA Championship on CBS Sports. Last year, Nick Price jumped on top of the leaderboard from the get-go and never looked back to grab a page of history. Golf's best and brightest take their shots at glory in the PGA Championship. Highlights tonight. Full coverage begins Saturday on CBS Sports.
When you named your ficus, nobody took you seriously. But now you want to buy a house, and not being taken seriously is the last thing you need. Which is why Countrywide is offering the Show the World You're Serious About Buying a Home program. In 20 minutes, we can approve you and lock you into a low rate before you start to look. It's like having the cash in hand. For more details, call us at 800-EASY-877. That's 800-EASY-877. We'll give you all the respect you've been missing. Countrywide Home Loans. Easy. Really. Equal housing lender. Some restrictions apply.
It was reminiscent of the Susan Smith tragedy, but it had a different outcome. Police in Nashville say a despondent woman slashed her wrists and those of her 7-year-old daughter after drugging the child, then drove into a lake to her death. The little girl survived, was found by fishermen, and is being treated at a local hospital. Two of baseball's stars of the 80s ended their careers today. Pitcher Steve Bedrosian, a reliever who won the Cy Young Award as the National League's best pitcher in 1987, called it quits with the Atlanta Braves. And Detroit Tiger Kirk Gibson announced his retirement. He's best remembered for a dramatic home run he hit as a Dodger in the 1988 World Series. In Toronto, a moving subway train slammed into a parked train during the evening rush hour. 2 people were killed in the accident. 20 others were injured. A private funeral service today in Marin County, California for Jerry Garcia, the Grateful Dead band leader who died Wednesday of an apparent heart attack. Police in Larkspur, California arrested a 16-year-old Montana girl who allegedly stole her parents' car and traveled 1,000 miles with several friends, hoping to make it to the Garcia funeral service. I'm Ed Crane, CBS News.
You pick up a payphone, you dial a number, and you anxiously wait to hear the sound of a familiar voice. And instead, you get... Oh, that is major annoying because you know it's just another no-name phone company messing with your call. Want to make sure your card call always goes through? Know the code. Dial 1-800-CALL-ATT.
For card calls, you'll always get through to AT&T if you know the code. Dial 1-800-CALL-ATT. That's your true choice. AT&T.
Hi, TGI Fridays little guy here with a Little Fridays Potato Radio News Flash. Get a load of this. We'll give you an order of 6 of our famous loaded potato skins free when you order any 2 of our 10 greatest hits, like sizzling char-grilled fajitas, Cajun fried chicken salad, and herb-grilled chicken. Hey, you can't go wrong with these dishes. They're some of our greatest hits. So come on into TGI Fridays, because this deal ain't no small potatoes. Actually, it's free potatoes, and they're rather large, actually.
Offer good for a limited time at participating Fridays.
Somehow